What you get here is wisdom, light, knowledge, strength, compassion, courage, empathy, all wrapped in a man named Malcolm X. It's your boy Dame. Subscribe to me, Dame's World. Shout out to my people, man. We do this for the people. Let that be known out the gazette. We have a segment called Malcolm's Words, in which we take Malcolm's words, his dialogue, and we try to compare it to contemporary society and how it can be relevant today, as well as the one who interviews them and how their words compare or contrast to the words of analysts and quote unquote moderates today. We got Malcolm. If you saw my last one, it was him diving right in. And without further ado, we're just going to dive right in right now. And his talks right now will be about quote unquote the white man.
Malcolm, how do you yourself feel about the white man?
I believe that the white man has done a great injustice to the black man in this country by having kidnapped our people and brought us here and down to the level that we're on today. And today, instead of approaching the factors that their original mistake has created, instead of approaching these factors objectively and realistically, the greatest sin that they're doing now is trying to pretend that they never committed a crime, that they never did any wrong. And when the Honorable Elijah...
I love that. Try to pretend as if you try to sweep the whole situation of race under the rug as if it never existed. When we all know, based on our empirical data, that it was a construct that was applied and is applied. But even in the 60s, you would see that people like the person interviewing him would try to nullify and deny racism existence. Even in the 60s, we can look at 2000s now and we can look in hindsight and say the 60s was racist. But even in the 60s, many people didn't perceive race and injustice. It's a hardship that black people have endured forever. And when you say the white man, it's a generalization. It's not every single person that has white skin. It's a generalization in which most white, quote unquote, white people fit in. Now, this category of white and black is bullshit. You know me. You know me already. Racial categorization is bullshit. We all are one race. We all are one people, the human race. So the fact that analysts and moderates even categorize black and white makes a racial distinction that we shouldn't even buy into that. But since it is that way, Malcolm has to let them know the white man, which is the system that the white man created, is what puts us in this disposition. And we always fail to acknowledge it, then and now.
Muhammad points out the injustices that our people are suffering. They make that sin worse by accusing him of teaching hate or by accusing him of black supremacy.
Accusing him of teaching hate, accusing him of black supremacy. I've heard today people say Black Lives Matter was teaching and practicing hate and teaching and practicing black supremacy. You hear white folks say black pride is racist because white pride has the connotation of burning down Negro homes. It's a difference. Black pride is to uplift the black mind and tell the black mind you are capable. You've been told for hundreds and hundreds of years that you're incapable. Get some fucking pride. Instill that pride. Don't let this system tell you ain't shit. Because the system will tell you the black man, the black woman ain't shit. That's where black pride comes in. But it gets flipped when in context of quote unquote the white man. They assume that to be racist. This is what Malcolm is saying right now. They take our assertions on race as hate and black supremacy when we're just calling out a system that was created by you guys. That's it.
Or by accusing him of advocating violence simply because he is pointing out...
They said Black Lives Matter was violent. Another tack.
The real factors in the problem.
We have a little time left. You don't have to hurry so much, Malcolm.
He's just passionate. He's passionate, man. Let that passion run.
You were born in Omaha, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And your family left Omaha when you were what, 1 year old?
I imagine about a year old.
And why did they leave Omaha?
Well, to my understanding, the Ku Klux Klan burned down one of their homes in Omaha.
This made your family feel very unhappy, I'm sure.
Well, insecure, if not...
What type of question is that? You know that's a prelude to the bullshit he's about to say. The Ku Klux Klan burning down your family made you unhappy. Wouldn't it make any family unhappy?
So you must have a somewhat prejudiced point of view, a personally prejudiced point of view. In other words,
prejudice point of view based on a Klan burning down his house for one, a prejudice is an assertion based on what I know. A prejudice is an assertion that you make based on lack of information, lack of personal, like meeting somebody of a different ethnic background and you say that they do a certain thing, but you've never even met them. You've never, prior to this meeting, you've never met people like that. But you'll say, oh, like black people steal. And you've never met a black person. That's a prejudice, preconceived notions you have. So he's saying based on the Klan burning down his house, Malcolm has a prejudice. This is just a method that all moderates do now and then to denounce the black position and his stance. He's saying, oh, you're biased. You're prejudiced towards white people because the white people blew down your house. Not all white people are like that. He's not saying that. He's just saying a system and a structure provided allows this bullshit. And it's continuance. This is something that needs to be spoken of and talked about. He tries to make it seem like it's just one incident and racism doesn't exist, something that the moderate does today. Get him.
But you cannot look at this in a broad academic sort of way, really.
And then there goes the discrediting. He can't look at it in a broad academic level, as if he hasn't broadened his horizons, as if he only has this perspective that entails hate for all white people. He tried to narrow him in. He tried to appeal to a fallacy of character depiction. He tried to make Malcolm look like someone who wasn't qualified for this discussion of racism when, ironically, this is a white man talking about racial injustice when white men don't go through racial injustice. It's ironic you want to call him out for his lack of academia on the subject.
I think that's incorrect because despite the fact that that happened in Omaha, and then when we moved to Lansing, Michigan, our home was burned down again. In fact, my father was killed by the Ku Klux Klan. And despite all of that, no one was more thoroughly integrated with whites than I. No one has lived more so in the society of whites than I. And it was only until I became a Muslim that I ceased living in the society of whites.
You were thoroughly integrated.
He got information that said maybe we can survive without living within a society. I love Malcolm's words because these are notions that are lost today. We feel like we have to comply, we have to integrate, we have to do what they do in order to fit in, rather than standing out like we were naturally made to be. Like I said, it's human race. We are a human race, but we have our differences. We have our ways of living that contrast. We're not all the exact same. We are all human, but we're different in our human beings. So let black people thrive under black people. Let us be us. We don't have to comply to the constructs of quote unquote the white man.
With the whites. Do you have white people in your family background?
Definitely. Most Negroes in this country have whites.
Thank you. I was finna say it. Of course, rape and pillaging and conquest ensure that we have white in us. And even saying white in us is an implication of racial categorization. He's saying that the subhuman Negro mixed with the what do you call it? The Nordic, I don't know, the pagan, I don't know, the Nordic man, and made a interbred mixed baby. But if you categorize us as all humans, you wouldn't even call it a mixing of the bloods like they do. But someone who would see race as an anthropological concept would say that. It's Darwinism all over again. It's Francis Galton all over again.
And their family background. Because
How are you going to differentiate between the white blood that's in you and the Negro?
See, how do you differentiate? You treat the one with love. It doesn't matter if he has white blood or Negro blood. Malcolm is not preaching hate. So he's not going to say, oh, he has white blood in him, I hate him. You see how the twist comes with the moderators? The moderators work for the elitists. The elitists work to shut up the Malcolms and the strong ones who keep us, who try to keep us spiritually aligned with one another, rather than try to detract us with materialistic bullshit. But you got moderators to think that hinder us from our true connection, y'all. Let's get it. Talk to him, Malcolm.
Real bloods in you. And you don't mind my using
No,
because you use this yourself.
I use it interchangeably.
I know you do. Why do you do that?
Well, I use it if it fits the purpose to use it, but I use it against my will.
You use it against your will because you understand in that society, words and relativity of words are understood depending on who's listening to them. So you have to use quotes that people understand. Like I said, I use black, white against my will because I know it's understood by the masses when I say that. I have to speak the language in order to get to and get through to people, right? This is what Malcolm is going to say.
You used it voluntarily in describing the incident in Los Angeles.
Still, I use it against my will.
I guess the teachings weren't thoroughly inculcated.
No, but when I say to
See
you,
how they try to discredit every word? It's not an intent to have conversation and good dialogue. It's an intent to bash someone else's perspective.
that the cops in Los Angeles shot down 7 unarmed Negroes. Every Negro in the audience knows what I'm talking about. But when I say that they shot 7 Muslims, then a lot of the Negroes don't
I
realize that
suppose you
they're
said
still talking
7
about
colored
Negroes.
people because you say you use the term colored people.
He's just showing you the relativity of words and why he uses some of the words, period. Now you're trying to swipe, excuse the loudness, trying to swipe that.
You said.
I don't think I used the word colored on this program.
Yes, you did. You did when we
Not
started.
colored.
I think so. Black people. I'm sorry. You did
Black.
say
Well, we can use black, and that fits everything.
Okay.
But surely black.
Now let me get back to another point that you made. You said that you go back home. Now, what do you mean by back home?
I've only heard the Honorable Elijah Muhammad say, back among our own people. From
You
whence
said
we-
back home. You don't
Yes,
mind my saying.
right, back home. But by that he means...
You mean back into the roots of Islam,
Stop keep cutting him off. Let him elaborate.
or do you mean back to Africa?
back home. And by back home, he means back into our original civilization. And if you study history, the Islamic culture existed in West Africa,
But your
Central
family
Africa.
didn't come from an Islamic background originally, did it? I mean, you came from the proud tribe.
His whole goal, this is where you compare it to contemporary analytics and analysts. His whole goal is to diminish his character and to make it seem like Malcolm is contradictory to his own claims. He said, but you're from here and just let him talk, let him speak, let him elaborate. He just said the Islamic faith originates in West Africa.
Of Africa, which is
I think
a
you'll find,
pride.
sir, that one of the Islamic culture
I agree, there is.
existed
a lot of-
widely in Africa, Central Africa,
I
West
agree,
Exactly.
Africa.
I agree. I've met many people in there.
You agree, but you disagreed the whole time. This is just episode 2, man. We're going to keep diving in. Right now, he just talked about his position on the white man, quote unquote, the structure. Malcolm's words, too. What y'all think about this dialogue? What y'all think about the moderator's position? And what do y'all think about Malcolm's position? It's your boy Dane. Malcolm's words, part 2. Get at me.